I'm here to debunk the myth that hustling harder is the only thing that makes you successful as a content creator, as a blogger, and Instagrammer, TikToker, YouTuber, that hustle is the only way to go. My name is Kate Waldo-Jones from Kate Waldo & Company, and I specialize in helping content creators work smarter and not harder so that you can actually enjoy the life that you're creating with your content and your influence. And we don't have to spend all this extra stress and time just hustling to keep things rolling. So let's dig into where this hustle harder mentality comes from. There's this belief, especially in American culture, that the American dream is working hard to achieve your dreams. And working hard is kind of this nebulous concept where we don't actually know what does working hard mean. So we just attach a meaning to it because we were given the 40-hour work week as a model for where we were supposed to spend our time on a weekly basis. But we never stop to think, is that really beneficial for us as entrepreneurs? Is it necessary to work 40 hours a week? Also, on the other end of that, is it supposed to be celebrated when we work 80 hours a week? Why is that the goal? We got into this business because we wanted to have more freedom of our time, freedom for how we spend our days, not having a packed schedule with meeting after meeting after meeting, or phone calls or Zoom calls or endless content creation, editing, all of these things. We got that hustle mentality from the corporate lifestyle of how most companies are set up in the United States. But it doesn't necessarily translate to keeping and maintaining your own business. Now, when you start, hustling is important. You have to have some fire under you to get things going, to get things rolling, to create that snowball effect where it just starts getting momentum in your business and it starts to roll on without you having to push it. But when you're starting, it's kind of like pushing a boulder up a hill. When you're pushing that boulder up a hill, it's hard. You want to stop. You have to take breaks. But during that whole process, you are building your muscles and you are getting more strategic and more thoughtful about how you create your content, how you put your content out there, how you monetize it, how you get more eyeballs on it. And as we go through that process, hustling is going to burn you out. You start to roll when you have some hustle or some fire under you. That's where you get started. But long term, if you continue on that path of always trying to push a boulder uphill, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna get stronger, but you're gonna burn out, or you're gonna decide this is not worth it to me. That's where we need to make that pivot to the CEO status in our business of where we say, okay, let me pause here and let me look at this from 10,000, 30,000 feet. What does this look like for the trajectory of my business? What are we doing that's going well for us? What are we doing that is not doing anything for us at all? And what are we doing that could be hurting the growth of the business? When I say we, it's probably mostly you because you're wearing a lot of the hats. You may have a virtual assistant or someone who helps with some part of the process for you, but for the most part, it's you. So you're looking at what am I doing, wearing all these different hats throughout the business that is contributing to the bottom line and to the growth of the business, and what am I doing that either I shouldn't be doing anymore myself that could be offloaded to someone else, and what am I doing that we really don't need to be doing at all because it's just bottom line not contributing to our profit in the business. I think a lot of content creators can get caught up in this mentality that they're always moving forward, always continuing on and pushing. When you push so hard, you're digging deep ditches. You could be running yourself into a cement wall or a pillar that you don't necessarily need to be hitting because you're never pausing to come up out of that ditch and seeing what's the landscape of what we've got going on here. How can we be better? What are we doing well? Then what can I outsource? I think this is one of the biggest pitfalls of content creators and bloggers, YouTubers, is that there's this fear around hiring, whether that means that maybe it's ego driven for some people of I should be able to do it all myself. I've been doing it all myself. I should be able to continue that way. Maybe it's a bad money story of there's no way I'll be able to afford it. Or maybe it's a fear of managing people. You just don't want to add more people to your plate. Maybe you came from an environment where you were in charge of managing people and you didn't like it. Or you have never had that experience before and you don't think that you would be capable of doing it. Well, that's where you really need to change that mindset. The only way that you are going to continue to grow your business is if you step into that CEO role and stop all the hustling all the time. Just because you literally can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And these are things that you can start to offload to people when you hire them strategically. You have your business in order and you have all the back end of things. You've got systems, you've got standard operating procedures, you have a CRM where you're keeping track of all your contacts. You have all those things set up. That's when you're then able to start to hand off pieces of the business to a team member so that you aren't always hustling, because the end goal is not for you to have created this content empire that just totally burns you out. Like, look at Casey Neistat. He's a YouTuber. He just stopped because he just couldn't do it anymore. Or look at these TikTokers that started and they're cranking out 3 videos a day and they try to continue to maintain that content level for what's the end game? The rest of your life? 3 videos a day for the rest of your life? That's just not sustainable. The earlier on in the process that you can do this, the better. When you pull yourself out of being deep in that ditch in the trenches up to that 10,000, 30,000 foot view, that is where you see opportunities for how you can be more strategic and how you can leverage the help of team members and sometimes specialists too. You're learning from the specialists and then you're bringing on people onto your team to execute for you. That is where you really see that major growth. So I wanted to bust that myth today of that you have to hustle and continue to maintain the hustle in order to be successful as a content creator, a blogger, an influencer. It's just not true. It's really not possible or healthy to maintain that level of pushing for the rest of your life or the rest of your foreseeable future. It's just not possible. So think strategically, leverage resources that you have access to. We always have tons at Kate Waldo & Co. And there's a lot of other great experts out there. So leverage those resources, consider stepping into that CEO role of your business, really rethink the hustle, because the hustle is not here forever. It will burn you out completely. And there's no point in doing any of this if you don't like your job, because that's why we created it, because we love it. And it's something that we want to do every day. So those are my 2 cents for the day. Let me know in the comments what you thought, what you are doing in your business to really step more into that CEO role. And if you like this, give it a like, share it with a friend, share it on your stories, and follow us for more.